Hey everyone, Sheila here from Lifewithpets. So today I thought while I was doing some water changes, I'd just go around some of the tanks and give you an update. I am just about to start the water change on this tank and just look at all those babies. Absolutely crazy how many we have in this tank right now. They have not long given birth to even more babies, and they're all hanging around the back of the sponge filter and sort of over to the back in the far left corner as well. A lot of the babies hang out there, but just a crazy amount of fish in this tank. Normally I'm able to just top off the tank, but now that there are a lot more in there, I have been doing more water changes, and so I'm just about to start one on this tank. And so I thought while I was doing it, I would video it and just talk to you guys as I went along. So I'm just going to set up the siphon going and then I'll be right back. Before I do that, I'm actually also doing water changes on this tank. This one is partially empty, and this one also is being water changed as well. And I am very fortunate in the water can just go straight out the window, so I don't have to mess around with buckets. So this one today I'm going to do about 50%, and this one here I'm going to do about 70 to 80%. So I'm just going to go back and set the siphon up on the 20 gallon and I'll be right back. So on this tank I do use a siphon with blue netting on, and that is just basically simply because I don't want anything to be able to be sucked up. I don't actually siphon the bottom of this tank. It is a planted tank, and so the waste or any uneaten food is used by the plants, so I don't have to actually worry about that. I usually do about 40 to 50% in this tank if I'm not just topping it off. Now there's so many fish in here, I don't usually get away with that, so it goes down pretty quickly in this tank. It is a 20 gallon and this is a fairly big siphon, and so it does go down pretty quickly. I just can't believe how many fish are in this tank, and I will show you some of the males up close. They are just growing out so nicely. The colours are absolutely gorgeous. So I'm also doing the 10 gallon which is next to it, so I'm going to move along to that one and get that one siphoning as well. I do actually like to siphon several in one go because obviously with having so many tanks I do like them emptying all at once, and then I'm able then to just fill them all in turn, which obviously does make things a lot quicker and a lot easier. So the next tank I'm doing today is the divided tank, and this one does get quite dirty. I sometimes will not water change it for maybe 2 weeks, and that is just simply because the plants take care of the nitrates in the water, and so I don't need to do it that often. But now we've got quite a lot of snails in here. We did move some into here to get sort of another breeding colony going. Then this tank does get really quite messy, and so I think I'm going to have to start cleaning it maybe just a little bit more than I would normally do, but I'm going to wait and see how it works out, because I did test the water and it was actually perfectly fine. So in theory it didn't really need much doing to it, but to actually look at it, it did not look very good at all. So I am just going to go over the sand and clean it up just a little, and then obviously fill it back up. Usually when I'm doing water changes in most of my tanks I do anything from 30 to 40%. I know a lot of people will say, oh, that's way too much, but it really does depend on the tank and what you've got going on in the tank to the amount of water changes that you decide to do. And that's just what I find works in most of our tanks. So I have noticed on this side that the snails don't seem to be surviving very well, and I suspect that is probably down to Bandit, because he basically will kill anything that moves. He is quite an aggressive betta fish, and so I think that that's probably what's been going on here, because I do notice that there are quite a lot of dead ones. So I think I'm going to have to try and pick out all the ones that I can find still alive in here and maybe move them to the other side or move them to a different tank. Probably moving them to another side is not the best idea because they'll only crawl through the holes in the divider. So anyway, I will get on with cleaning this tank and then I will check back in when I'm done. I just wanted to show you guys the growth on this plant. This is Frogbit and we do get asked about this all the time. I have received an awful lot of messages just recently about when will we have it available again on our website, and we're going to be putting it on in the beginning of January. And that's simply because I don't want to ship it over the holiday time because I don't want it getting delayed in the mail. But this is a great plant for betta fish. Now the only thing that you do need to make sure is that it doesn't literally fill the hole of the top. You need to make sure that there are gaps because obviously betta fish are air breathers and they need to be able to get to the surface, and this plant actually can completely cover the top of your tank and leave virtually no room for anything. So it is something that you do need to watch if you are planning on using it. This is an excellent plant for betta fish because of the way the roots go down into the tank and then they can swim in and out of them. So I absolutely love this plant. It does spread like crazy. This actually is quite a large one, and then what happens is you will get a shoot coming off that one, and then it will then just basically start producing more, and this is how all this produces. And then when we end up with too much of it, I then put it for sale on our website. So there will be quite a lot of it going up for sale next week. So this tank was emptied all the way down to about 50%, and I'm now just filling it back up. The way we do that is I use a pond pump in a bucket in the sink, and then the bucket just keeps filling up and it pumps it back into the tank. So I basically don't need to do any running backwards and forwards with buckets, which obviously with having so many tanks is important because I just physically wouldn't be able to do it. So this is an easy way to do it, and it's a fairly quick way as well. To do these 4 tanks, it typically takes me about, I would say 45 minutes to an hour. Obviously if I'm recording it takes a lot longer, but usually it's about 45 minutes to an hour. So all the tanks are clean and water changed. It did take me quite a while because then I went on and did all the ones in the kitchen. So I've probably been going about 2 hours, and that is for 8 tanks. So I guess that's not too bad. Here's the divided tank all clean and done. And then the crazy guppy tank. So I thought that I would actually feed these, and I'll try and find some of the really nice males. That one there is starting to grow out really nicely. Unfortunately, when they come up to the top, you can't really see their colours the same as when they go lower down. It's when they go lower down that the colours really show nicely. Like that one there, he is just looking gorgeous. He is about 3.5 months old, and as you can see, colours absolutely beautiful. All these others will grow up and grow out as well. This one here has some beautiful iridescence in him, but again you can't really see it because he's not in quite the right light. So I'm going to put some food in, and what I'm going to feed them today is, this is one that I have basically crushed up myself, and it is a mixture of a lot of different types of pellets, and they really like it. And I've done it that it's just a very fine, you'll be able to see it spread onto the top, and all of them can eat it. Some of it will drop down because some of it is sinking pellet, and then other is floating. So some of the smaller fish that won't necessarily go to the top because sometimes they fear being eaten, then it will sink down, and because I have crushed it so tiny, then even the ones that are newborn can eat it as well. So this might appear like an awful lot of food, but believe me, it is gone in no time at all. There are probably about 40, maybe even 50 fish in this tank, so there are a lot of fish in the tank, and I've been feeding them sort of 2 to 3 times a day. You can see here, these are some of the babies that were born just a few days ago, and they're able to eat all the little bits that are dropping down as well. So this food will feed all of them. We do feed it from day one. All the fish get fed a very wide variety of food. We do the micro worms, banana worms, we do Daphnia, we also do brine shrimp, and I don't do much bloodworms simply because it's only the adults that can really eat that. And then we also do the pellet food as well. So they do get a good variety. Gel food as well, the Repashy gel food, that is something they absolutely go crazy for. And I do feed that very regularly as well, and I do the Community Plus one, and in fact we actually do now sell that on our website. We got so many requests on where do you get it, where can I buy it, that we decided that as we talk about it so much ourselves and just think it is a great fish food, then we would start selling it ourselves. So we do have the Soylent Green and the Community Plus, and both of them are great for guppies and also snails and shrimp as well. They absolutely love that food too. So as you can see, all that food has more or less gone. There's just sort of a few little bits left on the top, the really fine particles left on the top. So it didn't last long at all, and I will feed like that again later today, and I will also feed this evening. So they do get, like I say, 2 to 3 meals a day. Occasionally I will fast them a day as well, but that just depends. Actually, there's the one I was talking about that is starting to colour up really nicely. That one is about 2 to 2.5 months old, and the colouring is just gorgeous. A different pattern to this one here, so it's going to be interesting to see the colour variation. They just swim so fast though, they get so crazy with their swimming that very often it's hard for the camera to focus. Alright guys, I am going to leave it there. That's it for this video. I am going to go live tomorrow, and that is Saturday. I'm not sure what time yet, probably in the morning. We are going to be running a sale on our website as well over this weekend. I do hope that you all have a wonderful new year, and we will see you in 2018.